Well, hey, I don't want to jump into your case here that you're investigating, but if you would like some help in trying to track this guy down, I actually would be interested in looking into it. You never know, I might have a couple of tricks up my sleeve as well.
Oh, that's fine. Love
it's
to
possible.
Love to do it. Okay.
I would like to try.
So the full color illustration, this is done by John McNeil, so he gets credit. Now
it's
on
beautiful.
the first, it's really well done. On the first drawing, Richard, you'll notice that there are red dots along the seam of the entry hatch. That's where the attempted points of entry took place, Richard. They tried to breach the hull of this craft. That's what those are there for.
And how was this successful? Not successful?
So what they originally tried is basically they tried air hammers to get in first, like jackhammers. That didn't work. Then they tried diamond tip drill bits. That's where you see the points of attempted entry. That didn't work. Then, Richard, they brought in an 18-wheeler tractor trailer with a large generating device on it, which had two very thick cables that were about 3 inches in diameter. And if you look on the illustration, you'll see these cables leading into the interior. This was a laser device. And this
we're seeing that here.
Yep. So they tried to breach the hull with a laser, Richard. And according to the Marine, it was warm to the touch. But when they moved the laser away, Richard, it had no effect whatsoever. Had no effect. So if we could somehow figure out the form, fit, and function of the material science that's involved with the skin of this craft, and we retrofit that onto our F-22s, we'd be invincible.
Yeah.
We'd be invincible. He also stated, Richard, that when they put this laser on the skin of the craft, it reflected off the craft, bounced up, and damaged a ceiling tile on the upper part of this facility. And that exact event was replicated in the movie Hangar 18.
Oh.
Yes. So it's like science fiction is mocking reality in this case. That was talked about as well.
When was that movie made?
Like 1980, I believe. So something from this case
someone's borrowing from the other.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
And this is one reason I asked you about your opinion of the reliability of this witness, because you just wonder, is this someone who's just making up a story that he got from some other place? But I don't know this case. I don't know this man. And or could it be that whoever was making the movie had an inside bit of information and just had a little cheeky and put that scene in there?
It very well could be. Very well could be. So there were between 20 and 50 scientists who were a part of this operation. Now, as we mentioned before, he wasn't there alone one time. He did take a photograph with his Minox camera that was lost in '86 during a flood. And then on the last day he was there, Richard, he said when he got into the facility, he saw this craft being loaded on a tractor trailer. They were putting a tarp over it, and they were putting chains over the tarp, and it was being moved to the next location. So it looks like, Richard, one way they compartmentalize this information is they move these craft from place to place. So they don't stay at any one place for any length or duration of time. They keep moving these things.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
Yep.
It does make sense, actually.
It makes sense.
One could do that. I have to say, it's an interesting case. I don't really know what to make of this. It's unlike Aztec, unlike Roswell. We're really going on one witness, one person's testimony, but it does seem to have a lot of interesting details. And as far as anyone could tell, I don't know if anyone's figured out a motivation for this man to not be telling the truth, right? So he's just kind of telling a story.
Yep, and he's the one, Richard, that stated that it was his professional assessment that there'd be two cross-section of people regarding disclosure of this particular reality of this event. He said that there would be one group that they were very curious, they'd be excited, it would be a revelation, something very great, but then the other portion of society would be absolutely furious that they were interrupting their Monday night NFL football game. And they wouldn't have a curious bone in their body. This
And this
came
is a
from
witness,
yeah,
the
this is
Marine
from
Corps
the
witness who
Marine
said this?
himself. Yep, I have that statement from him in the interview. It's like, you're interrupting my NFL football. I don't want to hear anything about it. I'm not interested whatsoever. So that's the dichotomy of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah. He sounds actually like a really perceptive guy, to be honest.
Yep.
Because I think that's exactly right. Well, that's interesting. We're actually going, I don't know how much more time we want. My inclination is let's just keep going until we're done.
Yep.
And we'll make the time works one way or another, because I just love where we're going here.
Yep.
So what other cases would you like to talk about?
I want to talk about the Jackie Gleason case.
Okay. You've sent me some really interesting reconstructions, graphic reconstructions of Gleason with Richard Nixon.
Correct.
Including the photograph of the two of them golfing, and that's significant because that's the pretext for how they were together. Yep. And I just love watching Nixon golf. By the way, you could tell, like, this is not a coordinated, physically graceful man. Like, you just can't see Richard Nixon dancing, and you can't see him playing golf. That's just my opinion right there. And he's like, he's hunched over. He's like, I'm going to get this one, Jackie. No, but he's just, you just know he's not going to sink that putt. No, that's all I'm going to say about Nixon. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about Nixon and Gleason.
Okay, and I know you've covered this before, Richard. This is one of those cases that has gone down in ufology as absolutely legendary.
It is.
It's legendary status. It's technically, Richard, never been 100% confirmed. It's never been concerned.
No, I agree. And I've personally gone back and forth on the gamut on this one. Years ago, I became familiar with it, I think, through the research of Grant Cameron. He put a lot of this together. Prior to him, there was an Ohio researcher who's unfortunately no longer with us, Kenny Young, who did some research into it. And so there is information about this. People interviewed Gleason's ex-wife, Beverly McKittrick.
Correct.
That she's part of the story, but she gives a little bit and then she takes a little bit away from what we learned. So anyway, why don't you tell this story, because it's an interesting story.
So as the story goes, we've got Jackie Gleason, we've got President Richard Nixon at a charity golf outing. The date is February 19th, 1973. Somewhere around the ninth hole, Richard, the subject of UFOs came up, as it sometimes does. And it's interesting to note that Jackie Gleason was a well-known buff of science fiction, of UFOs, the paranormal. He had a huge paranormal collection. He had a number of UFO books. Much of that collection was donated to the University of Florida, Miami. That's where that collection is, the Jackie Gleason collection.
One thing, if I just may add to supplement this, Gleason wasn't just an aficionado. He was really one of the most knowledgeable people on the UFO subject.
Yes,
it's not really understood. There's an old story where Gleason was in the famous New York City bar called Toots Shor. And he was sitting down with a journalist, skeptic of UFOs. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Bob Considine, who was kind of well known back then. And they were arguing about UFOs back and forth. And Gleason's like, it's real, you idiot. And Considine's like, no. And a general was in the bar and walked by. And according to the story, the general just walked by and said, Jackie's right, and kept walking.
Okay.
So that's a bit about Jackie Gleason, but the fact is he was close friends with Richard Nixon. These were actually good pals, and you've got to assume, if nothing else is true about the story you're going to tell, we have to know Gleason would have had UFO conversations with Nixon. I mean, he was a strong supporter of the Republican Party. He was close friends with Nixon. He was a powerful friend because he was a big celebrity. And he would have had an in with Nixon. And there's no question in my mind Gleason would have talked with Nixon about UFOs. Anyway, go on.
And it's also interesting to note that he had an $800,000 specially designed house in Peekskill, New York, called the Roundhouse or the Mothership.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So later that evening, President Nixon shows up at Gleason's house alone without the Secret Service. Apparently, Nixon had a history of doing this, so it's not completely unprecedented.
Yeah.
And basically, Nixon talks to Gleason and says, that discussion we had on the ninth hole, Jackie, I think I can help you with that. So he loads, Gleason comes in the car, and then alone, Richard Nixon drives him to Homestead Air Force Base. They're at the far end of the base, and when they get into the facility, there's basically what is shown to Gleason is a number of vintage Coke freezers, Richard. So we're talking about 6 to 7 Coke freezers, these vintage Coke freezers, and they had glass tops on them. He also saw a number of storage bins with crash retrieval debris inside these storage bins. Some of these bodies were mangled. They looked childlike. Some of them looked like they were burned, like they were involved in a crash at the time. When Jackie Gleason got back around 11:30 p.m., he was visibly shaken, according to his wife, Beverly McKittrick. He plopped himself down on the on his chair, and essentially he was never the same man again. And this was supposed to be a part of an article in a book called The Great One by his ex-wife, but it was never published. And so that's where it kind of rolls off the rails. We can't completely confirm it.
Right.
You know.
And here's a 2003 article from Kenny Young, actually a piece that he wrote for Grant Cameron on his interview with Beverly McKittrick and his attempts to kind of get more information about this. Esquire magazine had talked with her, and anyway, I should let you discuss it.
That's fine. Some of these bodies look childlike. They measured 2 feet tall. Some of the other ones look much older, Richard. Just wanted to stress that well. And so we've got 2 illustrations done by John McNeil showing Jackie Gleason with his ever-present rose pinned to his lapel there, and then also the interior of the Coke freezer as well.
Yeah, and these illustrations are just beautiful. Are these John McNeil or these
John
Tom
McNeil? Yes.
John McNeil does great work.
Exactly.
I have a question for you. One of the newspaper accounts that we're talking the tabloids, like the really cheesy tabloids, where Jackie Gleason, I'm looking at one of these here, UFO shocker, I saw bodies of dead aliens at top of Air Force Base. Back a number of years ago, there were claims that Gleason did talk to other people. There was the claim that he had talked to Larry Warren of the Rendlesham Forest fame, and for a long time I thought, oh yeah, sure, no problem, he spoke with Larry Warren. But a lot of folks have had questions about Larry Warren lately, and understandably, I'm sorry to have to say. So I guess my question is, are there any? I don't know of any actual statements that Gleason made publicly that have been confirmed about this. Are you aware of anything?
Only from what I heard from Clark McClellan. That's all. It was just an interview with him in his car. That's it. It never made it in any articles or anything beyond that. So it's going on his word alone.
Do you want to mention? Not a lot of people may know who Clark McClellan is, but he was a NASA employee for many years.
Right.
And he's very interested in the UFO phenomenon. Many years ago, I spoke with Clark myself, and apparently you chatted with Clark about this, and I did not know that he claimed to have spoken with Gleason directly, but you're saying he did claim that.
He claims to have spoken with Jackie Gleason directly. This was done in the back of his car, and he mentioned that as soon as Jackie started relaying this story, he immediately lit up a cigarette and just let the whole story out. Now, again, it's his story. Right. I can't confirm it, but apparently it did take place.
I could actually see this story as having been
yes.
And I assume you do too. That's why we're talking about it here.
Right.
It may be one of those things where we are never able to get to the goal line, as it were, and make it confirmed. But I think there's enough there. And certainly Gleason's connection to Nixon alone is significant, and Gleason's very, very strong interest in UFOs was very well known. So there's certainly a secret history of the UFO phenomenon within the highest levels of power. that even if you take the most conservative interpretations, there's something there, and it just has never gotten out officially to us.
Why is it, Richard, that the evidence that we're looking for is always one step ahead?
Yeah, well, I think one reason is that because it's a highly classified subject. It's potentially the most classified subject that there is, and has been embedded in layer upon layer of secrecy. And despite all of that secrecy, leaks come out, secrets do come out, even under the most difficult circumstances. People do leak information, and this is what those of us who are researching this find ourselves in the position of chasing after leaks, but we don't have the resources, and maybe the guys guarding the secret are even a little more intelligent than we are. They're sharp people. One thing I wonder about the Gleason story, like if it were true, doesn't it make you think that these are the Aztec bodies?
Could be. It could be.
They're the same size.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall Gleason ever giving a detailed description in any of these accounts of what these bodies look like. But here the recreation shows them to be, somewhat Aztec-like.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were described as being kind of like a brownish, somewhat scorched looking, and that's sort of what Jackie Gleason described as well. So that seems to match up.
Yeah. You wonder. It's just an interesting little data point.
Mm-hmm.
So is that everything, or do we have anything else?
I want to do two more really quickly, Richard, and just to keep these in order, I want to back up just a little bit. Going in line with the Marine case 63, I've got another case in 1963. This is also Leonard Stringfield collection. This took place during 1963 at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where a captain in the Navy who flew for Braniff Airlines claims to have seen two flying saucers in a hangar at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He was on special assignment at the time. He saw the two craft. One was in plain view, and it was propped up on a pedestal. So now, Richard, we've got three of these cases of these UFOs, dish-shaped craft being propped up either on a pedestal or on some type of cradle or wooden beams that were made in haste to just prop these things up. So this is a motif that we're seeing again and again here. One of the craft was 30 feet in diameter, had no rivets or any visible seams, which appeared to be like a two-man craft. The other craft was slightly larger. About 12 people could fit in this one. He didn't give any dimensions for this.
Now, Michael, one of the beautiful illustrations that I have here is the 1963 Wright-Patterson Air Force Base saucer. Is this the one you are talking about? This is the
one I'm describing right now.
Yeah, because it's a beautiful craft. It's in a big, big hangar. I can't see that it's on a pedestal of any sort, but it's beautifully rendered.
Yeah,
and it looks perfectly intact.
Yep. He was immediately called in by base authorities, and he was questioned. And when he was questioned, his exact words were, quote, "I didn't see anything." And then they said, "Good answer," and that it was dropped right there. So this is just another one of these cases from the Stringfield collection where these roads continue to lead to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
For people who may not know, I've talked about Leonard Stringfield many times in my books and lectures, and I know you have. Stringfield was really the greatest crash retrieval UFO historian hero we've ever had. Back in the 70s, particularly, he began collecting a lot of these accounts from military people, either direct witnesses or spouses of deceased personnel who told them, something important, and on and on and on. Even an alien autopsy film, or two or three, actually. Stories of them were relayed to Stringfield back in his time, and many, many other stories. He just was known to be the guy who collected them all, and I don't think he was able to vet every single one, but he did. He did go through the process of vetting a number of them, and when you read Stringfield, as I know you have and I have and lots of other folks have, you find that this is a very deliberate, I would say, cautious, and a very clear-headed guy who didn't just jump into every rapid. He didn't jump to conclusions, I guess is what I want to say. He was very, very cautious and meticulous, in my view, when I read him.
That's the impression I get too.
Yeah.
And according to Leonard, he's the one who interviewed the military eyewitnesses who either held the bodies or knew about firsthand accounts of handling the bodies, the retrieval material, or the debris itself. So they were like the firsthand eyewitnesses.
Fascinating. Yeah, I'm so glad you're bringing up some of these Stringfield cases and really bringing through these illustrations as well as your descriptions of them, but bringing them to life for a new generation of people. You know, Stringfield died in 1994, I believe. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
He wrote a couple of books, but he didn't write any published, like any final book on all of these crash retrieval stories. What he did were a bunch of these little booklets for MUFON, I think, these little status updates.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And I've got a few of them. I don't even have all of them, but so a lot of his research is just sort of hanging out there and is almost evaporating, you know, unless it's preserved, which is what you're doing here. So I'm very glad about that.
Yeah, Richard, there's still 26 bank boxes of original material within the Stringfield collection, so it's still out there. Incredible. All those original names are still within the files.
Where are these files, Michael? Do you know?
Well, I've been told they're still in Ohio, but they could be with some of his other family members. I don't think they're with Dell at this time, but they could be with other family members. Now, we tried to track them down, and what I've been told is a six-figure amount has been offered for these files, and they were not for sale because Leonard absolutely would not reveal the names,
right,
dates, locations of, you know, where he got his sources from. So yeah,
that's right. That was always a big sticking point for a lot of skeptical researchers. They're like, you know, you can't tell us who these people are. We have no way of following up, and it was a problem, and it did cause some dissension and skepticism from other researchers because of this. But you can certainly understand Stringfield's position. It's not difficult to understand this. Oh my goodness, it would be such an incredible thing. It would be possibly a better score
I know
than the APRO files, which is another legendary cache of documents we'd love to get. But Stringfield's documents, my goodness, that would be incredible indeed.
Be the Rosetta Stone.
I would be inclined to agree. Stringfield had an incredible amount of information, but I'm glad that we've got what we have and that you were able to do this work on these.
Sure.
Is that everything for this one?
Yep.
Is there more?
We've got one more, Richard. This is the UFO at Great Lakes Naval Station 1973, and that's what you see here on the drawing and the full color illustration. So this is north of Chicago, part of the Stringfield collection. It was UFO researcher Don Jernigan who knew a guard stationed there in 1973. Now this guard was stationed outside a remote Quonset-style building on the northeast sector of the base. And if you do a Google search, you can see this exact Quonset-style building. So this could be the very building that this took place in. This guard was told to deliver a special message to the commander of operations and was granted access to the building. So once inside the building, he was met by two quote-unquote burly Seabees who escorted him down a long corridor. The corridor turned left into another long corridor, which led into this large warehouse area that perhaps we can see on Google Earth here. Now, the whole place was crawling with guards. They were holding these drawn weapons. And what he saw, according to this guard, he saw this strange elliptical or tear-shaped object that was about 35 feet in length. Mm-hmm. Richard, it was propped up on a platform, just like these other cases, like 4 cases now. Uh-huh. It was tapered. It was kind of rounded in the front, tapered to the aft. It had a flat bottom. It was about 10 to 15 feet thick. It had a silver white glow to it. Had no landing gear, no windows, and it had a small flange on the outer portion of the craft itself. That's what you can see in my drawing here and in my illustration. So essentially, that is the Glenview Naval Air Station case of 1973.
Any information about where this came from, what this was? What are we looking at here?
Richard, I think this could be a USO. This might have been a retrieved USO.
Well, the shape would be,
Yep.
You'd think it would be a good shape for the water, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Those are my thoughts precisely.
I mean, the thing about it, though, some of these USOs have been tracked at moving at incredible speeds, well beyond even our fastest nuclear submarines.
Absolutely.
So you would need something beyond even in a good shape. You'd need something else to be able to create your own little bubble, as it were.
Correct.
But the shape would be helpful, and this could be a useful shape, I could imagine. Right? Fascinating.
Yep.
Well, Michael, these are just incredible cases. And am I thinking that you did this final illustration of this craft?
Yeah, these two.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And also the Wright-Patterson.
And Wright-Patterson. Yep.
Yeah, nice. Your work is every bit as good as some of these other artists.
I'm not quite as good as them, but when it gets real biological, it's out of my league. So.
All right. Well, these are great work, and I think everyone's going to be very happy to see these. So again, I just want to point out to people, your take on this, on the crash retrievals. I think it's very evident that you're looking at, I would say, literally extraterrestrial, or at the very least non-human civilization behind most of these retrievals of UFO tech. Am I right in assuming that?
Yeah. In my booklet, I've got 119 cases, Richard, and I all we need is one to be legitimate, and I don't think all 119 are wrong.
Yeah.
And we keep hearing about the same stories over and over again about these things being transported at night to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base on the back of these trailers again and again and again. So there is something to it, Richard. At this point, we can bank on it.
Michael, you say your booklet. Now, is this related to some of the images you have shown me in the last?
Actually,
something else.
I believe you have an autographed copy, Richard, called "Retrievals of the Third Kind: Cosmic Crashes, Corpses, and Cover-Ups."
I do, and it's outstanding. So that's what you're referring to. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
We need to get this out into a wider publication. Is there a way that other people can?
It is on the MUFON store. It's an ebook available for download. And I don't make any profit. I don't care. It's a crusade for me, but I just want to get it out to the public. So that's how, if people are interested, that's how you can get it.
Fabulous. Well, Michael, I hope we're going to be able to continue our conversation.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'm going to keep you to it. This has been fabulous for me. I enjoy these. As much as any listener thinks that they're enjoying this, I can assure them I'm enjoying it more. So I am it's been a thrill to be able to interview you all of these times now. We've had so many of these full hour plus interviews. Okay, well, I guess that's it. And so one of these days, we're going to get a web page for you. I feel you need a dedicated website. Correct. I'm just saying, sir.
Correct.
No. You're always so polite. You're like, yes, I know. And
working on that with Stephen Bassett.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Fabulous.
We're putting all the JPEGs on there, all the reference work, so you can click on it and then you can read the backstory behind it, everything.
Yep. I'm very glad that'll get out there. So, Michael, again, thank you so very much for being here on the Richard Dolan Show. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I know everyone's enjoyed listening to this.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you.
And thank you for listening. And remember, while we learn and grow and search for the truth, let's be good to each other. Later. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click to receive notifications. All that really helps me. And do see what Tracy and I are up to on our website, richarddolanmembers.com.